In this video, I'm going to go over the 5 different ways you could create a fusion composition within Resolve 16, both from the Edit tab and from within Fusion itself. So basically, when you start off, you might start off by dragging some footage to your timeline. That creates your timeline for you. Now you could actually, if you switch to the Fusion tab right from here, just your playhead over your footage, this is actually one way to create fusion composition. Anything you do here will then be connected. If you connect it to media out, will be shown on your edit page on your footage. And you might also think of going to the effects tab and just dragging over fusion composition, which is another way of doing it. But I'll go over the 5 different ways because there's slight differences. They all kind of do the same thing, but in slightly different ways. And you might also get kind of confused and lost to where you are and which fusion composition you're on. So I'll start out here by showing you. So I'm going to switch to my timeline here. Now within this one timeline here, which just looks basically like one piece of video footage with some audio, you might be able to notice that it's a compound clip right now. But I have the words 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here on my output here. And each one of these was actually created with a different fusion composition. But as you can see, they're all right here on the timeline within just one video track here. So the first one I'm going to show here is within this compound clip. When I've created a compound clip with my playhead over top of it, that's one fusion composition. So if I switch over to the Fusion tab, it's its own fusion composition here. And if I click on text here, you can see that it was the 5th one I made, number 5 here, which I have position from transform right in the middle here. I can move that around. That was my 5th different composition. But I don't have access to any of the other 4 right now. You don't even see it if I go and enable or disable the clips. That's the only one I can have access to right now. So that's the first way. Now the second way, I'll come right click on the compound clip and go to open in timeline. And that'll show me all the different tracks and different clips that are within that compound clip. And right here you can see 2 other ways that I did it. I created a fusion composition and an adjustment clip. So if I put my playhead over that and click on the fusion composition, come over to fusion, you see within my clips here, I have my fusion clip, I have the fusion composition, and I have the adjustment clip. So click on the text here, see that's number 3. So that was different from the compound clip one. That fusion composition was number 5, but right now I don't have access to that. So the number 3 is the fusion composition, the actual from the effects tab there, from the effects. Then I click on adjustment clip. So from the adjustment clip I have on my timeline, that's another fusion composition, again, separate from the other ones. If I click on text there, you can see that's number 2. So it's number 2, 3 of them that I've done. And if I go back into edit, and if I move my playhead over just the fusion clip, now if I go over to the fusion tab, I'll access another fusion comp. This is the 4th fusion comp. So I click over here, you see number 4. So that's been 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're each their own separate fusion composition. And now finally, if I open up the fusion clip, so if I right click on the fusion clip and go to open in timeline, this is the original footage I dragged to begin my timeline. And you can see here I just have the first one, number 1. And again, if I go over to the fusion tab, I now have access to that compound or that fusion composition. And that's the one with 1 on it. And you see that's the only one I see here. So within this one video track, double click on timeline again. On this one video track, I have 5 different compositions, each separate, and basically you have to go into each one to edit it. That's how sometimes I think people will think that their fusion composition disappeared because they might have used one of these 5 ways, not really realized it, and lost track of it. And it can become confusing, so you have to kind of know which way you want to do it, which way works best, and kind of which way works best for you. But that is the 5 different ways you could create a fusion composition within Resolve 16. Okay, I'm going to add a bonus 6th way you could create a fusion composition, which is basically available from any of the other ways. That once you're in your fusion composition in the Fusion tab, if you have the clips view enabled here on the bottom, if you right click on the clip, you have the possibility of creating a new composition. So you click on that, And basically what it does is it creates a new composition, which is a copy of your previous one. So now I can change that to say 7. Now, it's basically good for testing out if you want different versions, sort of the same thing, you just want to tweak different parts, don't want to lose what you had. So now if I want to go back to my previous comp, just right click down here, and I go to composition 1, click load. Now I'll load the one that was here previously, and I can switch back and forth by right clicking, going to different compositions, loading, and I give them different names. That's basically the 6th way to create a Fusion composition with Resolve 16. And I hope you found this video useful, and I thank you for watching.